Big events in Austin mean big traffic mess, and that means a lot of those cars spill into neighborhoods, taking up your spots. This week, Austin City Council will consider a resolution that would allow them to slap temporary parking restrictions on any neighborhood. KXAN's Angie Bevan visited the Zilker neighborhood.
It's kind of a nice little quiet spot, tucked away.
But John Turpin and others living in the Zilker neighborhood are all too familiar with the crowds the Austin City Limits Music Festival brings each fall.
The street is definitely filled with a lot of cars, and you'll see cops patrolling up and down, people walking all over the street just to get down there.
One city councilman is proposing a resolution aimed to help alleviate the problems residents face. Streets in neighborhoods like Zilker would be marked residential-only parking during big events in the respective area. Johnson thinks that could be too extreme.
I don't really necessarily like that they'll be parking on my street, but what are you going to do? You've got to go to the festival, and if I was going to the festival, I'd need a place to park.
Others like the idea of more parking regulations.
The neighborhood completely fills up, both sides of the street.
Alice Gilroy tells us one thing she'd like the city to consider is perhaps only allowing parking on one side of the street, but not totally prohibiting public parking.
Ambulances, fire trucks, things like that, it prohibits them being able to make their way down here.
For some, packed streets aren't just part of living in Zilker, they might even welcome it.
I really like it, actually. I'm kind of young and it's my kind of crowd. And it's only here for 2 weekends.
In Austin, Angie Bevan, KXAN News.
Well, if the City Council approves that measure, it just means the city would work with stakeholders to determine if temporary resident-only parking is a good idea. Any parking restrictions would still need further approval. Now, there are permanent parking restrictions already in some neighborhoods. We took a closer look. Friday, we reported street parking along 2 blocks of Lynn in East Austin, now open only to folks who live there and their guests. Some neighbors lobbied the city for 2 years to get those restrictions. Others tell us they're not too thrilled about it. Our full report online at KXAN.com. Some folks near the Walsh boat landing along Lady Bird Lake want similar restrictions. City Council's looking into changing the sometimes free parking lot there over to paid parking to pay for the upkeep. If that happens, people who live nearby tell us they're afraid more cars will just spill over onto their streets to park.